Alright everyone, my webcam's doing the wonky thing today, so I've got to keep these videos a bit shorter than usual. First we got to talk about those CNN deciding to present a skewed view of reality to its audience, provably so. Apparently they contacted KUSI News, which is San Diego, and they're like, hey, we want your local reporting on what do people think of the border wall, because remember, about 50 miles, I believe, of the border wall have been completed there. That was the prototype stage setting sort of area. They're like, how is it received by the public? What do local officials say? What do they think about it? Is it effective? And so forth. What's your local sort of opinion there in San Diego? I guess they thought, well, it's California, so they'll say that the wall is dumb and shit. Well, it turns out, according to their local opinion, people don't care. Nobody's outraged over it. There's no, mass protests or anything. Local officials agree, yeah, it's a good idea. It's fine. It's efficient. By the way, it works. Acosta comes out the other day, CNN's Acosta, and says, well, illegals aren't coming over the wall. They're going to areas where there is no wall. It's like, no shit. That's the whole point. That's why you want to complete the wall. So that there are no spots that they can come in without going over the wall, which is a heck of a lot harder than going through, oh, I cut through a little chain link fence. Took me 5 minutes or something. Instead, I had to scale a 40-foot embankment while I probably get seen by people on the other side that immediately arrest me. I think the latter is probably better. What this shows, and then CNN, when they told them this, didn't want to call back. They didn't want to keep talking to them and aren't going to report on it. That's because they want to make their audience perceive of the wall as though people locally, people in the areas actually impacted if you were to improve border security, that those individuals are irate, that the local governments say it doesn't work, that it's an eyesore, that it's a huge inconvenience, that it's a little bit like going through a 2-hour checkpoint to get to your job in the Gaza Strip or something. That's the conception of reality they want to force on people. But that's not real reality, and you'll remember San Diego is in California. It's a metropolitan area in a heavily blue state. Yes, it is a holdout on the sanctuary state topic. It's local government exempted from that and said, no, we're going to comply with the federal government. The state of California aside, within our boundaries, our metropolitan area, we're going to cooperate with ICE. We have no problem with it, which, by the way, is their rights, because they're the ones following proper immigration protocol. It's interesting, though, that people there are like, no, we don't care. Because you would expect, oh, San Diego, okay, they've got a bunch of liberal universities and colleges and stuff, a lot of, younger population, generally speaking, a lot of, California-style activism maybe, a lot of vegetarian mime jugglers and stuff, and yet there's still no protest over the wall. Well, that's very interesting. So how much less ire would be drawn if you build it in Texas or something? Now, it's funny also Acosta rambling in the context of McAllen, Texas, where Trump visited the other day. I've been to McAllen. I lived about 15 minutes from McAllen before, and nobody down there, as far as I knew, despite the fact that it was an overwhelmingly Hispanic population of first-generation immigrants, as far as I know, there weren't really protests and nobody really cared, because the idea is, hey, yeah, border control, smorter bowl, who cares? You got to guard the border. A lot of people, if you come here, let's say that I'm born in Mexico or something, go to the United States, I get my visa, I've got a good job, maybe I'm a teacher, a nurse, whatever, got kind of a happening thing going on, and then all of a sudden people are coming in, the sort of people that I associate with my original country, which is economically backwards. I'm probably like, oh, that's not the greatest of ideas. I don't think that I'm going to feel too inconvenienced by a wall anyway, because as Acosta and all his ilk already have pointed out, there's already a physical barrier there. It's just a subpar physical barrier made up of a couple layers of chain link fence in most cases. That's the border protection that we have. A chain link fence, and sometimes an embankment, maybe a second smaller fence behind it, just so that there's an area that's sort of a corridor for foot traffic, for border patrol, between their different stations, their little towers and turrets and shit. Why don't we just set up a bunch of pillboxes at the border and put auto guns in them or something? No, I'm just joking on that. It'd probably cost more. I support the wall. I think it's a good idea. And I think it's an apples and oranges thing when people are worried about, oh, well, people overstay their visa and that's the real problem. Okay, different issue. We can solve that issue differently. Yes, a border wall is not perfect. Some people will tunnel under. Some people will climb over. Some people will overstay a visa. They'll try to cut through it with an electric torch or something sometimes, but it's better than what we've got now. It's more effective, and it's peanuts in terms of the larger budget. And then you have the propagandistic hacks of the legacy media at CNN openly now trying to ignore people that are on the ground in these communities so impacted, where the wall is already under construction to some degree, and they're saying, well, no, we don't have a problem with it. Yeah, okay, CNN, take that to your people. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to give you a call back. Very, very telling when you have to stamp out information and keep it from getting out to a larger audience. Only, yeah, it's the internet era. And this particular firm, KUSI, they have a lot of Twitter followers and their YouTube page and everything else. And a metropolitan San Diego population of, what, 2 million people or something, I think? San Diego's a huge city. All those people are going to get to watch them say, hey, CNN called us. They wanted our opinion, fellow San Diegoans, or whatever you call yourself. They don't want it anymore, though, because people are outraged at the wall, and CNN wants to project as though everybody under the sun, everyone and their mom, hates the border wall. That's about all. Peace out.